What's going on YouTube? So the Infiniti QX60 is Infiniti's most important model because it is their best seller.
And we're in the latest 2024 example in its highest trim level, the Autograph.
So, should you pick this instead of an MDX Advance? Let's go ahead and find out. Let's kick things off under the hood with our spec dump. So Infiniti keeps the QX60 pretty simple. For 2024, we still have a 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, making 295 horsepower and 270 pound-feet of torque.
All models have a 9-speed automatic transmission, front-wheel drive or optional all-wheel drive. As far as your fuel economy, it's sitting at a competitive 23 or 22 miles a gallon combined.
Now, of course, what really matters is what it's like out on the road, and we look forward to showing you that a little later on in the video. We're going to get things like our sound level reading as well, so we can compare to its rivals, such as the MDX, on carconfections.com. But first, let's close up the hood and take a look at the exterior of this fully loaded model. Now, when it comes to the exterior design of this QX60, it really has a very handsome look that's right in line with the other Infiniti models. Now here with the Autograph model, there are just some slight revisions to the overall look, but we still have that signature grille. We've got a nice gloss black finish right here in the center. You've got large Infiniti branding in the middle, as well as Infiniti branding down here in the chrome that's going to surround the grille itself. Now as we move over here to the headlights, these are kind of integrated in, and as you can see, nice look to these. They're going to be full LED, of course, on all trim levels. This top model is going to have adaptive abilities, and you've got your LED turn signal indicator and daytime running light up top. No fog lights, though, on any example. Down here on your lower part, you're going to have a dark gray finish here on the Autograph. Now as we move around to the rear design, we of course see the application of all the latest Infiniti design elements.
Yeah, I think it's really handsome. Now, as far as some of those design elements, really the biggest one has got to be the taillight design. So I'm going to have Drew go ahead and hop inside, because here at Car Confections we want to see if all the elements are LED in the taillight unit. So we have an LED brake light, LED reverse light, and LED turn signal indicator. It's going to be the amber color, so I do really like the way that looks. And then dropping down to our lower area, this is all going to be finished in a lot of different colors and materials. We have gray, we have body color, we have matte black. The tow rating is actually 6,000 pounds, which is 1,000 pounds more than the Acura MDX, but we're not going to have exposed exhaust outlets like the MDX would.
Next up, let's talk about our wheel options. You start with 18-inch alloy wheels. However, the vast majority of models are going to have 20-inch alloy wheels, including this top model, which has a contrasting finish. Looks pretty good. As I move up here to our mirrors, this is kind of unique because even if you don't get the two-tone roof, which Mason will talk about in just a second, you will have two-tone mirrors. As far as the technology on board, heating, power folding, and blind spot monitoring will all be standard, and most of the trim levels will also come with driver's side auto dimming.
Now at the side of the QX60, you can see that this is a pretty long SUV. It's actually 198.2 inches long to be exact, which does place it right around the same length as the Acura MDX. Now, one thing you're not going to find on the MDX is this two-tone roof. That is actually standard here on the fully loaded Autograph model. I really like the way this looks. A lot of the competition does not have a two-tone roof. It really spices up the entire design, especially when you factor in this like floating roof design here in the back pillar. Now, one thing I don't like as much is that even here on the fully loaded Autograph, we do have the matte black wheel surrounds. I think it would have looked better if they body colored those out. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, this is going to be good news for those of you that have failed your driver's test a couple times, and that's because most of the models will have all of your safety systems as standard equipment. However, some of the different systems are sprinkled between the trim levels. But guys, that's going to wrap up the exterior design. Let's check out the really luxurious interior. But before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's move on to the interior. But first, as always, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. This is the latest Infiniti design, kind of squared off on the sides. You do, of course, have standard smart entry. You also get remote start built into the fob if you choose at least the Luxe trim level. Now to get inside the vehicle itself, grab behind the handle. It's going to unlock the door and take a look inside of the cabin. As we've already discussed, this is the fully loaded model. So we got a lot of luxury going on inside of here. And let's kind of start off by talking about the seating and color options. So what you're going to get is standard leather seats on all models, but when you choose the Autograph, this is going to get you the exclusive semi-aniline leather seats. Semi-aniline leather, for those of you who don't know, is one of the highest grades of leather available. This is a beautiful seat. We have things like Autograph engraved up here in the seat itself. We have color contrast piping, quilting all through here. It's really a beautiful seat and it's very comfortable as well. Part of that comfort is the fact that we have massaging here on the driver's side, and then all models are going to have 12-way power adjustment. Plus you have memory seating located right over here. But let's go ahead and climb inside. Now once I'm inside of the cabin, let's talk about the rest of the materials on board. So we've got leather over pretty much every surface that you're going to touch. So all through the armrest, all through the center section, and all through the top of the door trim. As we move up here to the upper dash, this is going to be a soft touch plastic with a stitching detail. We have a lot of use of this beautiful open pore wood running through here as well as on the door trim. And then what's exclusive to the Autograph is going to be this section of quilted leather running through here. It looks very classy. As we move down, you're going to find more leather that runs along there and down both sides so you can rest your knees against the consoles. Now to fire it up, push button start's located right there. Now we're going to head into a first-person perspective and take a closer look at some of the features and details. First off, we have our gauge cluster. All but the base model get the full digital gauge cluster you see here. Nice looking display. You can change a few elements of the design, such as making the middle section larger and your tachometer and speedometer a little bit smaller. If you have the top-end Autograph, that's going to come standard with a large head-up display as well. And as we pull back to the steering wheel, we have a nice flat bottom design to the wheel itself. You're going to have a more premium leather quality on the Autograph. You've got the cross-stitching through there. Most models will also come with a power adjusting steering wheel, and all models will come with steering wheel heating. But let's take a look at interior storage next, because that's very important for a family 3-row. First off, we have our center console, and we've been doing a new thing called the Car Confections Donut Test. So we see how many of our little donuts it can fit inside the center console. Today, we're going to be setting at 10. So we ideally want to fit a full dozen, but we have this kind of odd protrusion over here, which prevents it from fitting the full 12 inside. Up in front of that, we've got our couple cup holders. We do have a wireless phone charging pad, which became standard equipment last year. And then, of course, we have this very large floating center console where you can stick just about anything. Now, one of the reasons we have that is because we have an electronic style shifter. Very simple to use, just pinch the side and pull back for drive. There are going to be paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Pressing forward will put you in reverse. And when you go into reverse, the entire display will be covered with a 360 camera if you choose Sensory or Autograph trim levels. As you can see, you have active trajectory. You can change between some different views as well. And then the mirrors can tilt down when in reverse to help you see the parking lines easier. Then just press the P right on top for park. And behind that, you have an electronic parking brake and brake hold system. Now, as far as our climate controls, all models will come standard with a 3-zone automatic setup. The actual buttons themselves, many of these are going to be touch capacitive, but they do have haptic feedback to tell you what you've touched. And I like that the main ones are going to be physical still, so you can just twist these to make your temperature adjustments. Off to the side of that, every single model will come standard with 3-stage heated seats, and ventilated seats are going to be included at the Sensory level and above. Now, also physically rendered is going to be our volume knob. So the standard system is 9 speakers. Sensory and Autograph gets a 17-speaker Bose Performance Series sound system, and we'll give that a sample right now. Yeah, I really like this system overall. It really has a lot of punch, and it's a very powerful sounding system. Okay, so taking a quick look at our infotainment system, 12.3 inches is what you have on board. It's standard for all models. You have the latest version of the Infiniti InTouch / Nissan software, very similar to what you have on the Pathfinder. You are going to have a built-in map system right there. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay, but you do not have wireless Android Auto. You'll have to plug in if you want to use Android Auto. Now rising up here to the top, we do have an auto-dimming mirror with a frameless design. This is also going to be a digital camera mirror here on the top model. As you can see, that cuts out all the back obstructions, and we got your HomeLink remotes built into the bottom. Up top, you're going to find a panoramic sunroof as well. And this is going to be included as standard equipment on all models, so that's a very nice standard feature to have. The front portion does open up.
All right, so let's check out the rear area of this QX60 Autograph. Now, this, of course, is a very nice place to spend time. Let's go ahead and start by talking about the space first. 37.7 inches of legroom, 37.5 inches of headroom. Good space figures for this segment of vehicle, and as you can see, I'm 5'9". There is loads of space back here. We did bring our bendy ruler because we do like to, of course, test their measures, and we're sitting at 9 inches of knee space with the seat adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and like I said, I'm 5'9". My feet can also slide up underneath the seat quite easily, and my seats can slide forward and back, as well as recline a really good distance. This is perfect for taking naps, guys. Might have to take me a little siesta after we film this review. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, look at these chairs. First of all, these are really nice seats. So pretty much the same quilting design as we get in the front, Autograph branding. That's, of course, Autograph exclusive, that we're going to have this captain's chair set up. The other models will come with bench seating. Also, Autograph exclusive is this center console area. You have quite a bit of storage in here, so if we can't fit the donuts in the front, we can put them back here, as well as 2 cup holders. And this is actually removable, just like in the Nissan Pathfinder. Now let's talk about these features in the center here. We do have 3-zone climate back here, as well as heated seats on the sensory trim levels and above. Additionally, we have a USB-C, a USB-A, and a household outlet, so no excuses for the kids to not have their stuff charged up. Then when we turn to the door trim, we do have rear window sunshade, leather on the upper part, wood trim, leather on all the armrest portions, really nice door trim. Then down in the very bottom, we do have some bottle storage, and then your vents are going to be integrated up here on the ceiling. And it's time for us to head into the third row and see how good and where this lands on the Car Confections third row scale. So we're going to get back here. Infiniti's made it quite easy. You push that button, that actually kind of flips the seat forward, allows it to easily slide out of the way. And I do believe you can actually keep a child seat installed because the seat itself is really not folded in any capacity. And then sitting back here in the QX60's third row. All right. We're sitting at about 28 inches of leg room when it comes to the actual specs on this model, which is very competitive with that Acura MDX. This seat is adjusted all the way back in its tracks, and for someone of my size, I'm not going to have any additional leg room. My feet can slide up underneath the seat, but the thigh support is not fantastic. Now, another thing I want to point out is it's a little odd, but no 3 seats here in the QX60. The Pathfinder actually offers that, but for whatever reason, they put this little hole here, so you can't have a third passenger. As far as other features, we have 2 cup holders on each side. We also have USB ports, and we have vents coming out of the ceiling, which is a big difference. The MDX does not have vents at all in this third row. So as far as how this lands on our rating scale, I'd say this is in-law approved. Now walking up to the tailgate of the QX60, standard power one on all models. If you choose sensory trim levels and above, you will also have the kick function, where you can just push the button right there and open it up. And as far as the space is concerned in the QX60, we're going to have about 14 cubic feet of space behind the third row seats. If we go ahead and reach up here and pop those down, we're sitting at about 42 cubic feet of cargo capacity. And then if we fold the second row seats down, we're sitting at a maximum of about 75 cubic feet of cargo capacity. Now, that is a little bit more cargo space than the Acura MDX. For reference, it's going to be a decent amount for this segment. So certainly a pretty strong area for the QX60. Also, one thing I want to point out is that we do actually have a power return function on this third row seat, which is something that the Acura MDX does not offer. But let's go ahead and fold down the second row and get our measurements here in the cargo area. And we've got our tape measure out because, as Bill Nye would say, science rules. And here at Car Confections, we want to give you all those measures. So the length from the driver's seat adjusted to Drew to the rear of the cargo area is 83 inches long. And let's see how wide it is. Sitting at a very solid 44 inches wide. So that's very, very large cargo area here in the QX60. That means you're going to be able to fit stuff like an average adult bicycle or refrigerator would fit in this as well. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, we're going to have additional space underneath of here. Additionally, we have a 12-volt outlet, but no other power outlets are going to be in the trunk area.
So there's a quick acceleration in the 2024 QX60. Now, like we mentioned at the spec dump, nothing complicated really going on at all. There's just one engine that you can choose, or will have if you have the QX60, and that's going to be a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 engine, 295 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque. Those of you who might be familiar with the Pathfinder will pick up on that that's a little bit more power than the Pathfinder. The main reason for that is because they are going to be recommending premium fuel with this model, but you do have a little bit of extra power.
Yeah, and certainly accelerating there, very nice, smooth acceleration. No complaints whatsoever when it comes to this powertrain, because I think it's plenty powerful enough as well as really, really smooth.
Now, as far as your transmission is concerned, we have a 9-speed automatic transmission. This is a ZF-sourced automatic transmission, and it's a second generation. And shifting is mostly smooth. There are occasionally a little bit of like a hesitation or something like that, but nothing too bad that is going to bother you, I think.
Yeah, and as far as your drivetrains, you do actually have the option of front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive across the trim levels. So you can actually get, a fully loaded model with front-wheel drive, which is an interesting thing that allows you to kind of knock down that starting price for those of you who don't need the all-wheel drive system. And as far as your fuel economy, they're going to be pretty consistent across the models because we do only have the one engine. 23 miles a gallon combined with front-wheel drive, or 22 miles a gallon combined with all-wheel drive. And like Drew mentioned, it does recommend premium fuel, but it is not required.
If you're coming from the previous generation of the QX60, which a lot of you guys are going to be because they sold a lot of those through that generation, I think a big change is the fact that you don't have that continuously variable transmission anymore. Having this 9-speed automatic really gives you a more conventional feel. You have those nice crisp shifts, and that's something that I really appreciate from the previous generation. Yeah, and it does make it more in line with rivals like the Acura MDX as compared to the previous version, which it wasn't quite the same feeling behind the wheel. And now that we're just kind of cruising along here, going about 45 miles an hour, I do want to talk about your ride quality because that's a really impressive area for this QX60. Now, its chief rival, the MDX, does have a very good ride quality, and I'd say that this QX60 is just as good. These cars are really just so good at the family aspect of being able to cruise down a highway and really just soak up that comfort. So really, I've had no issues when it comes to ride quality. When you hit a bump, it doesn't really make much intrusion at all. And I will say these seats are incredibly, incredibly comfortable in this QX60. And now that we're going 55 miles an hour, let's get our sound level reading.
and we have settled in at 53.8 decibels as our lowest sound level reading. And I'm going to go to carconfections.com so we can compare that sound level reading to its chief rival as well as some of the other rivals in this segment. And surprising results, that actually places it as nearly identical to the Acura MDX, both the 2023 and the 2024 that we tested out in two different trim levels. So very competitive sound level reading. It's a very quiet cabin inside of here, which does of course contribute to your overall very luxurious feel when it comes to the driving and ride quality going on in here, that's for sure.
You know what time it is? It is time to do the airball and the slam dunk. I'm going to start with the slam dunk, and that's going to be the interior experience. Here with the Autograph, I have to say we really like this interior. There's a lot of luxury in here. This is undoubtedly the best interior Infiniti has ever made. I mean, it really stands out, I think, with a lot of luxury. I like the seats a lot. I love the wood.
Yeah, very nice.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a very good cabin. And then as far as the airball is concerned, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting one, but we don't like the fact that they lock you into just this powertrain option. We wish they had a hybrid or a performance variant. The Acura MDX now has the Type S, which gives you a lot more power. And especially considering this model's price tag of around $70,000, you can be getting a Type S MDX for that level of cost. So while you are getting some more features on this Autograph version of the QX60 as compared to an Advance MDX non-Type S, this is still going to be pretty pricey, and we wish that they had that higher output engine that you could make that step up.
So this is our auto start stop system. I'll demonstrate this real fast. Overall performance, pretty good. You can feel it operating, but if you don't like it, you can always turn it off right here with this button. And I do also want to briefly mention just a little bit about dynamics. Not a focus of this model at all, of course. But, you know, body control, reasonably controlled. The steering, lightweight, but it is fast responding. As you can see, when you go off center, you do get that immediate response.
Yeah, and then wrapping things up with the warranty, you're going to get a pretty long warranty for a luxury vehicle. 4 years, 60,000 miles for your basic warranty, 6 years, 70,000 miles for powertrain. Additionally, Infiniti has added complimentary maintenance, so you get 3 years of complimentary maintenance with this QX60. And finally, let's talk pricing for this 2024 QX60. Now, we don't have full model pricing just yet. This is a very early review of the QX60, but we do have the pricing for this fully loaded Autograph model. It's going to start at $66,100 for 2024, plus some of the options that we have on this model, just a few accessories and the premium paint, and $1195 destination. We're sitting at $69,325. So just a hair under 70 grand for a fully loaded QX60 this model year. And that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2024 Infiniti QX60 Autograph. If you found this video helpful in your purchasing decisions or comparing this to an Acura MDX, we would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get access to a lot more of our car content, including a comparison that's dedicated to just this QX60 and Acura MDX, probably coming up very shortly. Now, also, if you're a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, because you do make this all possible. And we would also really appreciate it if you hit our Instagram and TikTok pages and went ahead and gave them a follow, as well as viewed our all-new website, carconfections.com. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.